Hello, this is FG back with you for Anbennar, continuing on with our Rosande campaign. Currently, we are just sitting around and waiting to get some more claims so they can grab more provinces off of the war when I decide to attack them. Yeah, we want military tech. Additionally, we are going up to... Combat width is currently 32, currently running with 34 combat width. This will increase it by 2. Orc in the path. Surga, her family, and a dozen other orcs who were chained to the floorboards of the cart, rumbling along the dirt road towards the island, had been sold to a grotesque slave trader by their former master only days ago. And yet the time stretched interminably. Theirs was not the only cart in the convoy. 5 other carts had joined them on their journey. Five other carts had joined them on their journey to their uncertain future. The day had been long, and Surga was thirsty, hoping against the odds that their new owners remembered to give them some water while they waited while they waited for the river ferry. Their destination lay on the riverside, and the ferry was the only way for miles to get the carts across. Suddenly a commotion broke out. The slavers frantically waving to a flat-hulled ferry just returning from the opposite shore of the river. Turning her head, she saw a dust cloud approaching the convoy. Soon the sounds of galloping horses could be heard, and the mercenaries hired by the slavers assumed a defensive position. The patrol of knights charged into the ranks of mercenaries, and soon a desperate struggle ensued. Her cart was rolling onto the deck of the ferry as the last mercenary fell to the blow of a saber. The slavers rushed for cover on deck, abandoning the remaining carts. The knights rushed towards the ferry. Just as it cast off, Surga's arm was grabbed. She watched as the chain linking her to the cart and her parents was cleaved with a decisive strike. Futilely reaching for her parents, a desperate Surga could do nothing but slowly watch them disappear, carried on the boat into the river fog. It was the last time she would ever see them, but her mother's cries still echoed in her mind. For years after, she dreamed up scenarios in her mind. What if the cart got into the ferry just a bit faster? What if the knights were fast enough to catch her parents' cart? On and on in circles she trod. But with each day, resignation gnawed at the fringe of her hopes. Eventually, only the weary acceptance that she would never again see her parents was left. In the end, why would you need family if you are property? That's grim. Get rid of one of these guys. 16. We should have, yeah, pretty decent cavalry to infantry ratio. I did come up with a plan to fight Istralor without, fighting literally the entire empire. And it is that. So that will be something we do. I don't care about waiting for the what's it called anymore? We shall do a war of superiority. Okay, yeah. We greatly outnumber them. No, not greatly. We outnumber them by about 50,000. Tech-wise, we are actually behind. So we can actually wait for that. We can just do war for the moment. Yep, do that. Manufacturing. We can go ahead and build a couple more. Trade crisis. this will give me 5% admin efficiency, which is quite good. And then I get that. Alright. Can now get, let's go with howitzers. University, simply not afford it right now. Okay, let's do war consolidation. What kind of provinces does Galed want? So what we want is all these. And it'll cost me too much to... I don't want to take that time. Sure. Let's chase these guys. Alright. Leave these guys. Put together into an army. Good. Yes. And these guys also need to group up. Alright, so what we want is these provinces. And then we want trade power. These all need to go to me. Okay. Yeah. Okay, send this one down south. Plus progress, Royal Corvée. Go ahead and just get that starting to improve. And then for development, what the fuck is this? Ugh, man. Alright, there we are. Actually, I think I can get away with not doing that instead. Something like that. Would be horrible for my admin points. But, yeah. Good for my army. Okay, that would make some people upset with me. 2 of those won't join a coalition. bar, I can potentially... Yeah, I should be able to prevent the ground bar from joining as well. Because they should be... Yeah. They're small enough that I don't really need to worry about them too much. Yeah. No, I don't want to use my admin for that. Okay, so for Arnon, I don't want to actually take anything from them. I'm trying to hoard these admin points. So I will actually just head back there, wait for my allies to do all this stuff. Fine. I will take this. That means I can take this. So I got rid of one of my merchants. Okay, where are they? Whatever. Yeah. Again, just trying to hoard enough admin points so I can get this all cored up. Nice and well. Good. Getting converted over. Oh yeah, we can convert some of these. How many points is it gonna be? It says 600. I can get that down a little bit, I think, by consolidating, but I want to get to about 520 preferably. And you know what? I'm actually going to send an army to go deal with... Excellent, there's my commandant. Alright, so you're going to take this. Alright. Oh no. Yes. No. No. Okay. These guys are going to need to be on suppression duty to the south and to the north. These guys need to go sit with Caskanath. Alright. Okay, okay. Get these dealt with. Along with that. You know, these guys can deal with along with these provinces. Alright. Sure. Then we want to do all of these. Excellent. Okay. Spy network. Okay, we can do that. Let's do war rent. Sacred sentiment. Boost with Arboron is up. Okay. Okay, we basically won the Ascani Wars consolidation at this point. In terms of people who would join, Grombar will not. No one should join. Manufactories, we should get that relatively quickly, given the amount we have. Come on, man. Not afford that corruption right now. Good. Got it. Excellent. Is he gonna be a better general than the last one? Okay, I don't know why Fertile doesn't count towards Hadeen. Like, I get that it's supposed to be bad traits, but... like... Hadeen's all about, you know, sex and pleasure and whatnot. Let's look at... okay. Okay, manufacturer is obviously showing up. Part of the reason why I'm doing this is because it would give me a well, it gives me prestige and autonomy change, which are always good. It also gives me fort level defensiveness and then a local dice roll. And it would make this just the most miserable province to try sieging. Alright. That is excellent. Clergy. Seize land. Alright. Wars are done with. That is excellent. far as culture conversion, no. Okay, so if I wanted to declare war on them, yeah, I can do that. I can definitely do that, especially with Gawed's help. Alright. You know, there's been parts in this campaign where I've kind of thought about quitting it, but feeling pretty good right now. Yes, and then I can take that off. And only action, shoe embargo there, embargo there. Yes, tolerance of the true faith. That's progress, royal corvée. Okay. Yeah, I think there's 50,000 men on this. Vampires of Bao Dostin. Traditional. Oh, come on. I hate this. Okay. Vampires in the administration, the Night Command. Okay. Yeah, that fort is a nightmare to siege. 135% defensiveness. Level 7 fort. Beautiful. Okay. Okay. Also, my spy network stopped working, so let's go back. Because I don't want my spy network to be discovered. Let us. Where is the button? Economy action. Issue embargo. Issue embargo. Okay. And then places over here need soldiers' households. Where should I build them? I need... Oh, I just need them to have... That's 3... Major revolt. And then there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Money's a lot more replaceable than points, so... Alright, overflowing the market. No longer do the slave barges travel down the Allen and Dostanek, taking their precious cargo away from their rightful place laboring in our plantation and mines. Our nobility obliges us to look out even for the least among us, and thanks to our efforts, our slaves no longer have to fear being torn from their families and separated from their true purpose due to being sold to uncaring masters on faraway shores. Oh, so we're doing the whole good master type thing. Ugh. Our control of these vital trade arteries not only allows us to stop slaver barons from poaching our workforce, but also comes with unique opportunities. We can now finally export our homegrown vintages to markets in Western Canor without having greedy middlemen cutting into our profits. Let us show the rest of the world that our wines need not fear comparison with the established vintages of the West. Do we have any slaves left? Where is somewhere that produces? Appears we do not. Okay. With the establishment of a strong monopoly on the production and distribution of wine, Lensinori winemakers no longer have to worry about their bottom line and can more freely experiment and invest in new techniques of their craft. This has led to an increased productivity and wines of quality never before seen. A true golden age dawns upon them. Oh, that is beautiful. An extra 30% increase to wine value. Should make us even richer. Where is my... It's 10,000... Two of a kind. Yeah, half off Commandant. Sure. This. Rotten Manners. Claire! The dulcet voice of the mistress of the manor rang out over the courtyard, cutting through the tranquil morning. Tristane watched as a careworn, half-orcish house servant hurried to the manor's entrance, rushing to attend the whims of her mistress. Mother's mood had been deplorable ever since that red-glade silk was delayed. Tristane observed the commotion from his favorite perch on the second-floor balcony. His head leant against a window mantle. Poor Claire would probably have to endure this tirade on how it was all the fault of the lazy cargo hauler slaves who couldn't keep their schedule if their life depended on it. Then Mother would expound on the innumerable moral failures of the orchestration general through some inexplicable mental acrobatics that probably made perfect sense in her own mind to make everything Claire's fault in particularly. Father had already vanished on one of his hunting excursions. These somehow always ended with the successful bagging of truly impressive quantities of rose wine in one of the many taverns en route. It wasn't entirely clear whether this newfound appreciation for the noble art of the hunt stemmed from his darling wife's current disposition, or the equally fervent desire to avoid tedious discussions with the chief foreman of the vineyard plantation. Amain had repeatedly attempted to bring his increasingly dire reports to his attention regarding the unrest among the manor's slave population. This had spiked ever since the work quotas were raised, largely in anticipation of the bills incurred by the lady of the house. Which of these explanations best matched the truth was a frequent topic of discussion between him and his elder sister Elara. She, for her part, was increasingly bemused by Mother's zealous efforts to ensure her spinster daughter was garbed opulently enough to finally catch the eye of an acceptable suitor. At a positively decrepit 20, Mother considered the upcoming grand ball at the Crimson Palace to be Alara's absolute last chance. If she could convince Mother to let her decide for herself which of her dresses to wear to the grand ball. Let's go with that one. Oh, we got a free policy. And then we can... okay, either of those provinces... That one already has one. Spanish plantation... Spanish plantation... Alright, now we can get another infantry. More. Right. Good. Let's just get that many. Something happened. Oh yeah, what's it called? Reloaded. Sorry, I forgot about that. Yes. And I will do administration. There they are. Sure, nothing can go wrong holding this many people in slavery. Not people, orcs, but... so much wine. Oh yeah, I cannot get rid of those cargoes. is this though? This is like an actual big wall. You just get, no, let's go with 30,000. Premier cost. That's named after Khmer. The, what's it called? The Witch Emperor and more. Okay, we can do education. So much wine! Alright, in terms of them... Let's pay that off. Nope, don't do that. Yes. I really don't want to fight the Empire, in case you haven't noticed. Let's call Sirenvar in. What's happening? Internal conflicts. Where is my states? There we are. Yep, get that cord, get that cord. That cord as well. And then I can walk to head. What am I fighting? That one, actually. We actually now have more than enough funding capacity to probably stayed up. Rest of us gone, even. Eternal toll. Yep. Yes, cruel. Excellent. And from the south, so playing with Rosande does feel a little bit uncomfortable. For some reason. For some reason is obviously a joke. I definitely know it's just a video game, so see good advice, price of progress, royal corvée, elevate of the war master. Nation of mages. Raven Hill, not... I really should have had a temple to one of the archdevils. Raven Hill is supposed to be like, kind of like Vegas, I guess. Alright. Nice and good on tech. You know, I can see these armors give you a history lore. Okay, now that'll be fun. Excellent, more culture conversions. All of these are getting done. Okay, so Mapes Bay, Trey's Casriel. War Wizard. Hacienda. Second Veil Port. Alright, cores are looking a lot better. And I can go ahead and build a whole bunch of these. Send some adventurers out to grab that one. Kobolds are out of day. I like these funny little guys. silly. Siege magic, fireball. Veterans. Yeah. Let's take that one. Clear offer. These two provinces. Alright. Before we do anything, I want to build a state house right there. These guys might have home. Clergy, Valefort needs a cathedral. Okay. And Eskin should be big enough to hold an actual army. Goblin refugees, sure, we'll take them. Don't know why we're not also enslaving the goblins. Fuck you. I'm taking these provinces out of the empire. Oh no. Spring advisor. I'll take the prestige hit. Actually, no, I want for culture. There we are. Cousin Vladic's good enough for me. Okay, covert options. Revocate claim on Google Revocate on Panwood. Okay, I will also let us find it right there. I'll grab these provinces off of them. Ooh, that's a lot of extra tax. God damn. And then these have orcs in them. One of them does. Alright. Take that away from the Emperor. Additionally, we will move our trade city right there, and we will transfer trades power. Let's go with the Scani imperialism. Isn't really a proper nation to form the Black Dements with. Although we actually can't. Oh yeah, we aren't really a mage nation, I guess. Unified market. It has an X on that. Manpower recovery speed. Okay, yeah, that's good. All of them are getting converted over. Let's go with culture. Nope. Not green orcs. Do Luciander as well, why not? Yeah, the reason why I took the fund the army is because we don't need money anymore. I mean, you know, we can always use money, but we don't really need it. Just to prove a point, I will upgrade this. Purely to prove a point. We don't need the money. What we need is a better army. What GP number are we? 4. But it's pretty tight. Military Treaties, take that, press progress, Royal Corvée, Elevate of the War Master, hurrah! Yeah, give him the 10,000 manpower. Upgrade power should I can do this one. The Academy of War. Here. Upgrade that. And from that, we get trade power. Alright, that seems pretty good to me. Trying to pull out as much trade power as we can from there to funnel it into our main trade node. Ages of loyalty. Sure. Danica, Math 4, Anbennar. All board. Okay, can go this way. Sure. Give me 1 second though. You know what? We can get rid of a bunch of these guys. Alright. This guy's good. Let's just put this. And then we can get rid of him, 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 him. And these two. And then this guy needs to come off. He can get fired. Okay, it is time. Okay. Yeah. Hypothetically, if I was to piece out of this war, that's what I'd want. Okay, so I want that. These go to Siren Var. Okay, I'm gonna pull back that way. And then I can take a Knight's Steed. The vast grassy plains of western Ascan were once the home of the paragons of knighthood and chivalric Ascan. The valorous knights of Adenica and their trusty steeds are still a venerable staple used by storytellers all over Canor, but all their renown did not save them from the savage green tide. Now their former lands are in our hand, and we have taken it upon ourselves to breed the last remaining herds of their famed Adenican courses to provide our own knights with steeds of suitable pedigree. Alright, so I get the Knights Rosande buff permanently. And then we need medium strength or higher. Let's do a magnificent feast. Diplomat. What's my diplomatic reputation? Magic menu. Where is it? Overextension, studying magic. We can do that though. Bring them back. Okay, I can afford another army. What do these look like? 2016, 25. I am almost certain that there's going to be a big slave revolt. Just given all the past event. I don't know. I think I might have read the design document a long time ago, but I just feel it in my bones. There comes the Inquisitor. Green Orcs didn't. Canonically, they're almost certainly just like a slave or something, but... Alright. Excellent. Oh, I think they got the, I looked through that, but I'm pretty sure that event was them getting their, pigeon back. I'm gonna wait till I have my 4th army and then a little bit of extra manpower before I start this, because I can just feel it in me bones. I'm gonna have to fight a lot of greenskins. Okay, where are... Okay, excellent. We also have Calendal. because we're amazing. Names to your deposit. Pay that cash. Take protect. Yeah, we'll do horse artillery. Let me get 50,000 manpower, and then I will be happy to do it. We can go ahead and get 20 cavalry in all these. Oh, these are all... I can hand these back over. Here you go, Siren Var. Oops, Salafay with corn. Lovely nation. Lance Knight Academy. Could get another army, but I think I really need a 5th army right now. Also, I really like to integrate them. Noble's worried. As far as cores, that down, throw in force religious unity there. That. We'll pour that up. Pull Whistle Veil up as well. Maroldic is perfectly acceptable culture. Okay, Quarian, Coven Blade. Not Green Orcs, not Maroldics. Lucianders. Yeah, we can convert the evil bastards. No, I won't do that. Do they actually? Yeah, we actually have the... They purged the orcs? No they did not. Doesn't seem like it. Alright. The tables are ready and the wine barrels brim to their staves. For years, the former citadel of Baldoston, now transformed into a resplendent crimson palace, has been meticulously readied by the crown itself to host the most magnificent feast in the history of Rosande. Every noble house is invited, and every slave owner for this one night have eagerly set aside their duties. They trust, after all, that the orcs will continue to toil tirelessly, working until their hands grow numb and beyond. For that is the purpose they serve. The music starts, the wine flows, the guests gorge on bountiful foods, and the gossip reverberates into the grand halls, for the ball set to be remembered for a lifetime begins. The castle ramps of the Crimson Palace were lined with blossoming rose bushes, glowing mage lights gently illuminating the imposing ramparts. keeping the rising shadow of a dusky evening at bay. Alara Sil Demathon exited her coach, careful not to dirty her elaborate gown, and ascended the stairs to the central keep. Once inside, she was guided to the ballroom, a truly enormous room overlooking a river far below at the base of the promontory. The space was illuminated by the last rays of the sun and by a host of mage lights imbuing the air into the hall with an ethereal quality. The polished marble floors reflected the elaborate ceiling fresco, detailed mythological scenes framed by an abundance of roses. The gilded ornaments glittered in the soft light. The indisputable center of attention were the scores of nobles populating the ballroom. Like a flock of exotic birds, each more elegant and dazzling than the next, they moved about in a mesmerizing riot of opulent colors and glittering jewelry, like something out of a fairy dream. Not long after Alara entered the ballroom, she was approached by the dashing scion of one of the noble houses overseeing the Dostonorian provinces of the former Corvuria. Alara gladly accepted. The next 2 hours were spent in a reverie of dancing to the tune of the most exquisite music found in all of Ascan and beyond. Day turned into night, and far too soon the first glow of the dawn illuminated the horizon. Only reluctantly conceding to her basic bodily needs, steadily breaking off to nap or nibble, Alara soon rejoined the other revelers and continued with this magnificent celebration of the grandeur of Rosande and its highborn lords and ladies. The days and nights seemed to flow seamlessly together in a feverish sequence of never-ending revels, feasts, and balls, the like of which Canor had never seen before. The feast will never end. Alright, we shall see what happens next. Yeah, let's do this one. Surga's speech. The candlelight flickers, barely illuminating the wooden shack. Each flicker of light reveals dozens of orcs. More gather outside, braving the winds and torrential rains to listen in on a speaker who has endured endless punishment to make her voice heard. Our ancestors brought Ascan to its knees, and now we are supposed to accept perpetual servitude? Should we, the descendants of proud warriors, descendants of orcs who brought down the Dwarvar, except that our generation's greatest achievements were picking grapes correctly without being whipped? No, we shall fight so our descendants may revere us as great warriors. Fight until the vineyards which have oppressed our kind for so long are extinct in Rosande. Fight until no orcs are bound in chains. But we shall not simply stop with Rosanna has been brought to its knees. We will fight until we've realized our ancestors' dreams of an orcish Ascan. Surga's words echo briefly, before a thunderous uproar by the orcs deafens the winds and rains, yet her words echo not only in the decrepit halls of the shack, but throughout the adjacent plantations as well. Once these orcs had rebelled and butchered their masters, they too would join the ranks of Surga's rebellion. By the end of the week, rumors of a second green tide had reached every corner of Rosande, as dust clouds from marching orcs dyed the sky faintly yellow. Alright. Surga's rebellion. The slave driver dangles from a tree, hanged with the whip he'd swung 1,000 times. The Rose Lord's dismembered body cramped into a wine cask, his blood barely able to fill the barrel before it's sealed and placed among with other wine casks to age. A slave merchant screams for help in a basement while his former merchandise erects a wall around his cage. Undertrained but well-equipped militiamen are stripped of their valuables, leaving nothing behind but the naked bodies on which the crows feast. All the while, chants of trample the vintage while the grapes of wrath are stored pollute the inhospitable countryside. Rosande has not yet fallen, but decades of debauchery and carelessness within the Rosande aristocracy has brought orcish ruin to the very lands our ancestors liberated from the tyrannical orcs. Although Rose Lords and some statesmen initially downplayed the present danger to calm the populace, as mountains of corpses wash up on the canals of Iontras, people see the true scale of the terror, hundreds of glassy eyes gazing at them blankly from the water. timing, Casrio. Alright, how do we deal with that? Tragic evening, and you have failed. Our ancestors came to Ascon to collar savagery, and you have taken your hands off the leashes. From this day forward, your duty shall come before your pleasure. Adron's face was beet red, and he took a swig of wine so as to continue his tirade against the nobles assembled within the Crimson Palace. And that isn't all. You will need to prove yourselves for army command. Your taxes. The looks of outrage and fear on the assembled nobles' faces quickly turned to horror as Alderaan suddenly toppled over. Chaos erupted. Some nobles ran towards the exit, trying to evade the evil magic doubtlessly at work. Others retched up their meals, convinced that poison must have been the cause. Still few more draw their swords and advance upon their orcish servants, certain that one or the other must have caused the tragedy. After a few moments, a noble named Elaine Sil Langolin took the stage. Friends, let us not behave like orcs in this dire hour. Our great emperor has been struck down doubtlessly by poison applied by the treacherous slaves. The poison even caused him to go mad in his final hours, turning against his gallant retainers despite my pleas. Now in his memory, let us dispatch the perpetrators. Alright, we will get rid of them, obviously. Good job, Sirenvar. The half-orc's assistants. It started with our own, of course, guardsmen able to speak the orcish tongue from conversation with half-orcish friends. Half-orcs cheering and welcoming our guards as enthusiastically as any other free people. Mercenaries and gangs informed us of the rebel movements and went their own blades to ensure crackdowns were carried out. Then the call spread further. Now the greatest mercenary class on the continent has thrown in their lot with us, eager for the fees they can expect from grateful nobles to restore their lands. Half-orcs have fought in dozens of mercenary campaigns, come home with shining steel, ready to put down the mongrel hordes. Even foreign half-orcs, whose orcish relatives know foreign masters, march into our lands. They are eager for profit, learning of the riches to be had from their mercenary comrades. As these soldiers march to aid us, despite their orcish blood, we remember some essential truths. Whether the Ashborn of Vornmarch or chipped tusks who work in Anbennar, or the strange elfborn amid the southern forest, we bind the orcs in chains that their children may someday enjoy the fruits of civilization. It seems they have at last developed a taste of order. May they live to enjoy it. Alright. Did not need me for this. I am annoyed that they have called me to it. Rosande Hero. The carriage tilts and a colossal figure emerges into the courtyard of the palace. With a frame and height surpassing that of the average orc, Kylian Sil Rosande is an anomaly among both humanity and the nobility. Unlike the wretched beasts called orcs, and despite his size, Kylian Sil Rosande, with a chiseled face, luscious golden hair, and sapphire blue eyes, is unmistakably human. The delicate marble tile flooring cracks as Kylian Sil Rosande walks down the hallway, past adoring nobility and servants, starstruck by his magnificence. Yet despite having returned from his magical studies to serve his country at his time of need, he brings with him a meager retinue of 17 concubines, 5 orc slaves, and 11 homunculi. Indeed, his humility is widely known and praised, as everyone knows Kylian does not brag, preferring instead to demonstrate his magical prowess on his orcish slaves. On many occasions he has incinerated or vaporized orcs from his retinue, indulging the requests of lowly peasants wishing to see his magic for the first time. He arrives in the throne room and sits upon 2 of his orcish slaves as nobles bicker around him for the privilege of crowning their new king. The discussion continues for minutes, and the orcs beneath Kylian began to tremble. As no one is worthy of crowning me, I shall crown myself. Kylian walks up to the throne and conducts an impromptu coronation, much to the pleasant surprise of the onlookers. Any king humble enough to crown themselves is a king Rosande is willing to serve. He is merely proficient in all forms of magic. And we can also upgrade some forts. Yeah, that works. Powerful mage. Let's go with. Have. Yeah, Ildron. Yep, that is because we got the temple upgraded, I do believe. Let's do Mesmer. Stella Aheen. Interesting. Head on. The War Council stood around the table. While this was not an unusual practice for the Rosanda Wars, the details were entirely different. Instead of grand palace rooms, they stood in an, albeit luxury, tent at the front. Instead of a council of great lords only barely controlled by their monarch, it consisted of King Kylian laying out his plan, expecting it to be obeyed by all of his commanders, nobles with proven military talent. His plan to end the rebellion was also different. Instead of spreading out trying to protect isolated plantations, they would meet the whole Orcish force at once. They would not attack immediately, but instead draw them into the open, where cavalry could be most effective. Most importantly, however, was their desire to kill. In the early stage of the rebellions, many nobles thought their slaves could eventually be recaptured and thus refrained from killing them. Kylian, in contrast, knew that his orcs that victory only comes from the death and instructed his force to have no mercy upon the orcs. As the council ended, all who attended were relieved. For the first time, the rebellion would be fought with vigor. The field shall be covered in the bodies of those fools Fading light. Slave! Kylan Silverzon shouts, spotting Sugra amidst a strange red-green sea of crimson knights and rebel orcs. Her blood boils and she lets loose her devastating magic, tossing, burning, shocking, and crushing crimson knights with ease. She clears her ways towards Roson's king, Slave, a title by which she refuses to let anyone call her ever again. A title which demeans everything she and her comrades fought for, a word she had promised no Ascani orc would ever hear again. Kylian didn't move an inch. He remained sitting on his orcish slaves, conjuring magical attacks, even while his elven homunculus guards holds Sugra at bay. Sugra conjures hundreds of lightning strikes in minutes, a spectacular feat of magic, hoping to overwhelm Kylian's defenses, but the homunculi absorb them all. As she fights, she dodges constant magical attacks from Kylian Silverzond. Never does Kylian conjure a defensive spell. Remaining on the offensive as homunculi begin to crumble, dismantled one by one until only 4 remain. With most of Kylian's guard gone, Sugra finally manages to land her hit. A bolt melts a streak of crimson paint from his armor never before blemished. Just as he begins to falter, just as Surga thinks victory is possible, an orc approaches from behind. He stabs Surga through the torso. His eyes are awash with agony. He pins Surga down long enough for the homunculi to impale each one of her limbs. Kylian walks up to Surga, now on her knees. He looks at the orc slave, now collapsed on the ground. Good job, Shirkle. You'll get extra food for the next month. He reaches for his hilt, caressing the ruby pommel, but upon seeing the anger of Surga's face, he lets go of it. I will not foul my blade with the blood of a No, even beasts don't deserve to be compared to orcs. I will not foul my blade with the blood of an orc. My name is Surga. Another homunculus drives a spear through Surga's torso, but despite the pain, she lifts her head, almost clambering to her feet. You may kill me, but you will never kill what I represent. You will never kill our desire for freedom. You will never kill our hope. Slave, Kylian eyes lock with Surga's. His words are binding. She no longer is the master of her own body. He grabs a rusty goblin blade from one of his homunculi and throws it towards the inscrcelled Surga. Kill yourself. A man commands, a slave obeys. Alright. We can do this. What other card do you want? Hangover. Everyone who's anyone knows that one reliable sign of a truly great feast is the enormous head-splitting headache afterwards. Things get tricky, however, when it is not just individuals, but an entire realm waking up from a nauseous and unable to function. Unfortunately, this is what happened to our beloved Rosande. While our illustrious nobility was busy enjoying themselves, dancing and preening and drinking the vast wine cellars of the Crimson Palace dry, our orcish servants had the utter temerity, the absolute gall, to stage an uprising as soon as their rightful masters were out of sight. Of course, this was doomed to failure, something those ungrateful greenskins would have known had they even a fraction of the mental prowess of their betters, but the repercussions of the futile rebellion will be felt for many decades to come. Thousands lie dead, our coffers have been drained, all because of our worthless nobility couldn't handle their slaves. The Emperor turned to face their tense advisors who knew any wrong words could get them executed instantly. No. Worthless doesn't even begin to describe how those nobles acted. The orcs can't help it. They are beasts that act on instinct, but our nobility are living, breathing, thinking beings who apparently have forgotten how to think for themselves. And a human like that is no better than an orc, the Emperor's shouts echoed throughout the empty castle, filling the desolate rooms with life once more. Some of the advisors sprung up with an insulted expression. My liege, surely you cannot compare our illustrious aristocrats to filthy greenskins. That's The young man was interrupted by a half-empty bottle of wine flying by his ear, shattering behind the wall against him. Speak again, and I'll have your tongue. The Emperor's voice thundered, the advisor collapsing into his chair almost by reflex. A deathly silence fell upon the table. Kylian sighed. While these morons are certainly capable enough to hold feasts, few have proved themselves worthy to command an army. Only those who show competence should have the privilege. His advisors nodded in agreement. Had it not been for the nobles' ineptitude, the rebellion might have been quenched a lot quicker. The Emperor examined reports on the orcish workforce, swirling the remnants of wine in his cup, then downed the last sip as he discerned that losses were too high to sustain. Kara, he shouted, calling for his trusted servant, who hastily entered the chamber. Her old master had been executed at the hands of an orcish rebel. At an auction, the Emperor had taken a liking to her unusual brightness, particularly her knowledge of history honed in the ancient libraries of Castenath. I recall you mentioned a detachment of the Green Tide reaching Ascon. Where exactly did those greenskins venture? Kara dazed, almost dropping the platter in her hand. The deep woods, your majesty, she stuttered, scared for all those lives she had just condemned to death or worse. Perfect. I always wondered what lay beyond those trees. Alright, unfortunately we're gonna have to dissolve that alliance. No devastation. We can build a fort right there. Fort right there. Right here as well. Alright, where did I put my devastation map mode? Okay, there. One fort will get that. Fort will get that. Transport will get that. Down there. Really bode well. Okay. Goblin refugees, sure, we'll take them. Devastation. And we'll get that done. We'll also get a fort. Okay, where are great projects? That one's done. Didn't mean to do that. Take claim of Curse Woods, as well as this. My network. Improve the capital. Use the manpower. Oaktown Superstition. Alright. And then, where are my other devastated provinces? Okay, those are going to be fine. These ones will eventually get done with. One will eventually get its devastation reduced enough. there anything I can do to reduce mutation? Okay, that's fun. Where else are my wine provinces? My troops with siren bars up while okay, you know what? I need to start drawing. Price of progress, Royal Corvée. What GP number am I? Number 4 still. Shaman Home still has the French flag because it's funny, I guess. There. Go to here as well. Soon the Castellarians will be gone, as well as the Coven Bladix. Little bit of extra, what's it called? Extra, forgot where my thoughts were going. Oh well. Now it is time to declare on Lucian. Go ahead. Go ahead. started their own father worship. Why would you do that? Forgot these places had orcish workforces as well. All of these will get... Yeah, that's fine. These will get decreased. Okay, all of these are covered by forts. So, that'll be good. Okay, also, go ahead and start doing that. In there. Okay. I have 75,000 men. Okay, let's do declare war for that Siren. This one. Long dwarf. Alright. Okay, now what I want actually just gonna be how much as many provinces does that give me? I don't have access to any no, I don't have access to any castle spells besides conquest. That sucks. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll take that. Extra manpower. Oh shit. Got a moment. Do that. And then do that. Yeah, they took worse casualties than we did. Which is never good if you're a dwarf or any of the elder races, really. Shouldn't really have any manpower left. All our forces might not be quite as good. Well, they actually might be better. There's a fucking lot of humans. Not a whole lot of elves. Nice progress, Royal Corvée. Yeah, go ahead and get those extra. Walls of Castanet. Let's do that. Okay. The uprising took us by surprise, but in hindsight, the warning signs were there. It is now apparent to us that due to misplaced compassion, we were much too lenient on our slaves. This is a mistake we will not allow to occur ever again. Strict oversight is needed because the old saying goes, idle hands do the infernal's work. And we shall make very sure that our orc slaves learn their lessons and are kept too busy to entertain treasonous notions of another rebellion. After all, they have to make up for the needless loss of so many of their fellow slaves whose numbers were culled during the failed uprising, and even more importantly, the damage inflicted on property and profit throughout the realm. 8 mage towers. Alright. Doesn't need one. Okay. Sure. quick. Okay, so I can take that. Give me extra line infantry and Ascani Dragoons. Means even more devastation. Go ahead and send a warning to them. As per usual, the main problem with fighting in the deep woods is the treasure. Okay, so I can take that, and I can take that. That's too much. Wait, why? Huh, funny. Okay, while we have defeated the Orcish rebellion, the savages had one final trick to play on their betters. By forcing us to kill them, they have deprived us of their labor. If we are to truly restore the proper order of society, we must acquire more slaves to replace those who betrayed us. Fortuitously, an answer lies to our south, Deepwoods. This vast forest contains a multitude of orcs who entered the pristine land and despoiled it with their presence, just as they did with the Skan during the Green Tide. We have an interest, nay, a duty to enter this land and tame its inhabitants for the benefit of worthy folk everywhere. Darien pulled his sword out of the last orc. It had been the fourth ambush this month, and each time they were just as ferocious. 20 of our own dead this time. Could have been worse, he muttered under his breath, but is it ever going to get better, sir? Said Crovan, his faithful second-in-command. We can't keep going on like this and expect to win. Hearing this, Darien pointed at an orc. See him? Tusks not fully grown, young. It means they are desperate, willing to send everyone to fight. Soon, even their desperation will give out. Then we can work on civilizing this place. Crovan glanced up at the trees, concealing deep shadows. But what do we do until that happens, sir? Keep pushing? I've noticed that our recruits aren't quite as old as that they used to be either. In response, Darien walked to the edge of the forest, peering into the foliage, from which so many of their misfortunes had emerged. Then he shouted in anger, seemingly at only imagined orcs. We will keep pushing, we will smoke all of you animals out, and no matter how much blood it takes, we will find you. Alright. I'm actually move this guy over to Old Vernon. Biz has rivaled me, which is unfortunate. Well, not really that much. Let's do the clergy, Venom Fen. Yep, they leave. culture conversions. Yep. Eclipse elf. I care less about these. Don't want to do those because those are orcs. Yep. Stab hit. Use this turn well. Huh. Interesting. There. Okay. What am I doing? I do need to suppress these rebels. Plague. Pay the cash. Where are... Oh, there's centaurs there. Okay. Do that. Barracks. Build some more barracks. In the field. Yeah, we'll do zealots. For that, I want to accept the Wood Elves. I mean, they also don't like orcs, so, you know, should be good buddies. Yeah, that one can be look at that beautiful cultural border. Convert that over to Maroldic. I like that culture border. Okay, let's do these one. Where are their half orcs? I will just build and hope that I have some half orcs. Probably should. Well, probably will eventually hit some of the half orcs. Alright. Okay. Damn. Ground shark keeps beating the shit out of me. Alright, let's switch over to a good Rosande. Progress, yep. Just keep doing that. Almost done. Oh shit. That is going to be a lot of trade power. Additionally, do that. How long is this episode? 2 hours. We'll be ending it quite soon. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. only have 4 armies right now, right? Yes, we do. Okay, we are gonna grab a shitload of provinces. Alright, unpaid labor. The savages are more cunning than we expected. They have attacked our columns without warning, freeing their brethren and retreating into the forest where our knights cannot follow. Such dishonorable conduct proves the righteousness of our cause, but still presents a practical issue. Thankfully, the orcs are not the only race in this woods, and we have made enemies of the local elves. While many elves preposterously claim that we are just another foreign conqueror, some of them seem to recognize that we are natural allies. These sensible elves can serve as trackers, letting us enchain those who would threaten their home. This should simply be seen as repayment for our efforts in clearing out the green-skinned filth, as we, unlike the orcs, do not work for free. You are fools. You are no better than orcs. The elder's eyes seem to be popping out of his face. They will conquer us and make us work for their own benefit. They may not call us slaves, but their so-called nobles will own us all the same. So you would spurn an ally against our current enemy out of fear? One of the young elves, previously silent, had stood up, was now speaking her mind. My parents died fighting the orcs. They slaughter without mercy. The humans may not treat us as equals, but we will still be alive, and if we help them, they will surely reward us. The elder, barely containing his anger, looked into his eyes. My decision is final. Now, out, all of you. Later, as she walked through the village, a human envoy approached her. Everyone in the glade must have heard your argument, and it wasn't wrong. As long as you pay your dues, you shall be left alone. That is, of course, if the elves assist us. Even a brave few, unafraid to defy the small-minded elders, could help secure our mercy. Would you happen to know anyone who fits the description? Where is this? She sucked in her breath and nodded. And we should be most of these provinces. Yeah. Iantros needs 6 buildings. And that'll be converted. Okay. And now we will declare for that. Alright, now I can do war stuff. Education, war magic. Let's actually study enchantment. Want their deep wood provinces. Nolish. Yep. Wait, do we have we have imperialism? Okay. Should be before I start the war. Yes, it is. That. And here. some time. Much better local. 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's enough. Too many actually, but who cares? And then this enchantment, study. Well, that's what you get for working with Lauren for so long. Okay, so this war goal, it should be a lot cheaper to take these provinces. And I think that is pretty significantly cheaper. Okay, let's go actually fight the dwarves. Okay, good, they're dealt with. Okay, and then I want to send these guys north. Alrighty. These guys can also head north. Okay, we force them off with that and take that battle. Okay. And could be the last of our conflict with Corvaria, actually. Unless for some reason I need more provinces. Yeah, no one's gonna care about this one. No, I don't need to take that right now. Final touches. Took in the minty woodish spell of the deepwood's timber, which the timber which the city of the flowers was mostly built, then sighed upon remembering that he was departing tomorrow from this beautiful city. Despite a short time spent walking through the streets bustling with life and business, he had crossed many marvelous bridges which spanned over canals full of cargo barges and other passenger boats floating downstream, but he had yet to take in the magnificence the city had to offer. What had started as a passion project of the monarch had come to rival Castenath. It wasn't a city of stone and oppressive in its antiquity, nor was it chaotic like the capital or trade hub. It was human. One way people will compare Warrentine to the City of Flowers, not the other way around. Alright. Siege magic, how much summoning? If I can knock Dame's Crown out, that would be really lovely. Okay, this is my only functional army at the moment. Alright, fully functional army. They're all functional. Just this one's the only one at its actual maximum force. Okay, they're gonna attack that. Unless I proceed. Okay. Praise Capital. Fantastic. Alright. Yeah. Okay, we have that dealt with. I can get rid of this fort though. I don't care about that one. Okay, let me go there, let me go there, here. Okay, I've been forgetting to build stuff. Study, alright. That one's good. Okay, I can do better than that. That guy's really good. This guy can go. This one can go as well. This guy can go. Alright. these guys can... Actually, these guys can suppress the rebels. Alright, excellent. And we are also converting them over. Mage's influence needs to fire. No. We'll hand out reduce research regulations. Another lesson taken from the Slave Rebellion is that while most orcs are only suited for hard physical labor, the rare few to possess some degree of innate magical talent. We will have to make sure that none of them abuse their talents the way Surga and her ilk did. Of course, it is unthinkable to train them as proper mages, but with the proper obedience, they might make for useful assistance for our mages. And as for those who prove recalcitrant, there are other uses they can be introduced to. A recent discovery from far Aelantir has reached us. The blood of magical creatures or being with magical talent can be used as a substitute for Damestyr to empower arcane workings. Okay. What is this? Okay, so this needs... What? Siron Mia. Okay. Shimmering City needs to be at tier 2. Alright. And then we want to improve relations with them. Okay, we have a court mage ready to go whenever we need them. Yep, we need that. Good. Development of 30, 6 buildings, that is 6 buildings. Seek experts. Price of progress, yep. And then we come right there. These guys can also put that down. It is there. Oh no, there's only one. Improved relation value of 100. Alright. The half-breeds. A somewhat unsavory issue has come to the forefront in the wake of the uprising. The question of the half-breeds, products of the illicit unions between orcish slave and human masters, whose numbers increase with every passing year. While this topic is of course not something to be discussed in polite society, they exist nonetheless, and we decide need to decide once and for all what their place in Rosande society shall be. Rock shuffled awkwardly into the sumptuous waiting hall, gateway to the Emperor's quarters. Before the rebellion, a half-orc like yourself would never have been able to enter a place like this except as a servant, and judging by the looks on the nobles in the room were giving him, many thought that should still be the truth. As he entered the main chamber a few minutes later, he kneeled as he had been told, his eyes locked on the ground. After only a few seconds, he heard a voice bellow, "Stand up! Kneeling does not befit a warrior such as you." As he stood, he saw the monarch, garbed head to toe in his finest fabrics, money could buy. Your kind has proved itself better than its low parentage would suggest through your service in the uprising. Therefore, you shall be free to live and recruit for your companies forevermore, provided that the requisite taxes are paid to the crown in the form of your service. And what of our dues to the nobles, your grace? Rock asked, his head still bowed. Those ingrates deserve nothing after their pitiful showing. Your kind, on the other hand, are the perfect warriors. The thinking capability of a man combined with the strength of an orc. The competition will serve my so-called noble knights well. What is your name? Rock, your grace. The monarch sighed and looked pensive. Such a savage name won't do for a creature in civilized society. From this day forth, your name shall be Ricane. Tell your people to choose similar names. It would be a shame if any of you were mistaken for orcs and put in chains. Gritting his teeth, Ricane bowed deeply. Thank you, your majesty, for your wisdom and consideration. As he left, he reminded himself it was better than the alternative. Yep. Alright. Divine Right. Yeah, Divine Right. And we can get... One's good, that one's not good, bad. And then this guy can get fired. Alright. And then we need Court Mage on 5. The Crimson Crown. If there is but one true symbol of rightful rulership in our old home, it is the famed ruby crown of Laurent. Looking back, we see, however, the stagnation and corruption indelibly linked to the symbol of kingship. The crown was not even truly earned by Lord Nan, but rather a gift from the Ruby Dwarves to elevate their favorite pet warlord and make him beholden to their designs for Lensinor. We, however, have fought for our right to rule these lands, bringing justice, peace, and prosperity to this desolate place. The royal crown of Rosande, a magnificent crown of crimson gleam, will therefore be forged by our own hands, reshaping the empty remains of the crown of Castellir and adorning it with a uniquely gleaming gemstone found deep in the heart of Siramia. This will symbolize our indisputable right to rule over Ascan in the deep woods as ordained by destiny. The throne halls of the royal palace of Iontros were filled to the brim with the dignitaries of the realm, and those who fancied themselves as such. Emperor Calendal, securely sheathed at his side to avoid blinding the followers of the realm's nobility, slowly approached the raised throne dais, where senior members of the Crown Council and clergy waited, together with his royal consort. Between them, lying atop a silk cushion, lay the newly crafted crown of Rosande, crown of the crimson gleam. It was a true marvel of Rosada craftsmanship, fashioned from the remains of the former royal crown of Castellir, enhanced with semi-arches made from mithril, and topped by the crimson gem. The tear-shaped gem had been unearthed in the depths of Sierra Minya, and gifted to the court by our local wood elven subjects, thankful for the peace we have enforced in their wooded homeland. Before it was made part of the royal crown, the gem was ensorcelled by the realm's mightiest mages to emit a constant crimson glow, the color of our proud flag, the color of blood shed by and for our people to forge the Rosande we know and love. The shimmering coronet, a stunning companion to the royal crown, forged from mithril and studded with precious gems, glittered brightly on the noble brow of Kylian's royal consort. As she handed him the silk cushion upon which the crown rested, thunderous applause roared through the halls as our emperor placed the crown of crimson gleam upon his head and turned to face his jubilant subjects. All our trials and tribulations have led to this momentous event, our arrival in Ascan through blood and courage, our struggles to tame these wild lands and serve justice to those who shattered the vanquished realms of old Ascan, our liberation of the troubled deepwoods, and finally, surmounting the ungrateful western cousins who banished us from Lensinor all those years ago. And we have the City of Flowers, and this needs to be prosperous. Alright, we can get this done. How far are we? Yeah, we can do that, then I will end the episode. That truce break, Siren Var. It's only 4 years. I'll take that to prestige. Yep, convert that. Don't care about that one. I can get removed. Got the help. Alright. God damn, we really made a dent in the orcish population. Eef. Alright, and improve relations here. We also would like to... Where is it? Yeah, we'll annex them, but later. Painful. Alright, City of Flowers. On the shores of the glistening silver rain rise a true marvel, clad in rose-colored colored marble, emanating a gentle glow in the light of the sun, decorated with ornate gardens overflowing with roses of all imaginable colors and adorned with beautiful palaces of sumptuous ornaments, and gilded with gold and silver filigree. As we envisioned long ago, Icontros has become a thriving city of wonders worthy of our noble realm. While it has required the effort of many generations to create this marvel, those ambling along the avenues of the City of Flowers will readily agree it was all worth it. Alright. And we need... okay, these need to get done too. Alright. The many fault lines within our realm which led to the tragic betrayal of the great Orcish rebellions have been dealt with one by one, except for the most insidious. Some of our nobility have forgotten that while they might be ordained to rule over their lessers, this is not due to arbitrary divine providence, but because they possess the suitably superior character, and with it a corresponding responsibility to take care of their charges. Abandoning all obligations and chasing only after ephemeral pleasures, they have made us all vulnerable to the slave revolts. But this will no longer be tolerated. We will ensure that only the most talented and disciplined among the ranks of our nobility will ascend to the highest ranks, and all those who fail in their duties will risk censure from the crown. The true blooming of our noble houses is about to begin. So we go from the exile, disgrace nobility, which is 10%. Okay, to 15%, still minus diploid relations, extra absolutism. It is extra absolutism. Alright. And now we just need to do that. And we can get 20 provinces, I do believe. And even if we have to go fight a Verpal Kazaman, then that's fine. Oh, there's another mine here. Interesting. And then... yeah, I think I will end this episode here. I want to thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and have a good day.